Hey everybody, what's going on? This is B from Kongs R Us, and welcome to a Sunday Fun Day show. Mrs. Kongs R Us, my co-host, will be here with me shortly. So hope everybody had a great holiday week. If you celebrated Thanksgiving with friends or family, hope you ate some good food. We definitely did. We had a fun mini vacation visiting some family. Got to eat, some great turkey across different cities and things. But Thanksgiving is one of those holidays where I have tons of memories growing up and eating turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes. And as a person who's Asian growing up, it was like the one kind of meal that my parents really tried hard to kind of like what is it called, initiate into just regular Western culture and have a real Thanksgiving. So I remember my mom waking up super early in the morning, 6 a.m. to cook turkey because we would do Thanksgiving lunch. So let me know in the chat if you do a Thanksgiving lunch or a dinner, like, because those two times make a huge difference in terms of prep time, right? So Thanksgiving is just a very special place in my heart. And also because I've grew up with that certain type of turkey and stuffing and stuff in mind, I went for the first time in a long time. I visited some family and we did Thanksgiving at somebody else's house, and it was delicious. But it wasn't the same as like the turkey or stuffing that I particularly grew up with. You did both, Mr. Encoder. You did lunch and dinner. I know that's how you get crazy when you do multiple dinners in the same day. Um, but yeah, so yesterday I actually did, a whole set of turkey and all the fixins and the sides because I like my Thanksgiving food. And in addition to Thanksgiving food, some of the best parts of Thanksgiving, hi, Mrs. Congress, is the leftover turkey bits, right? And what do you do with leftover turkey bits?
Turkey chuck.
Turkey chuck. I know, I have some right here. I'm gonna
Oh,
grab
you.
some. I grabbed my own bowl because I'm still hungry. Oh, thank you, Mrs. Congress. Made me a bowl of turkey chook. What is turkey chook for people that don't know what this is?
See, people have heard it being called turkey or kanji. There we go.
Kanji
So
or
it's rice
porridge.
porridge, yeah, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just basically all your leftover turkey bits stewed together. In my family, we only get it one day a year, and that's like after Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
This
good
is the
stuff.
gem. I know. So it's the turkey bones that are we boil for the broth because you can use turkey broth and turkey stock for other stuff. But man, putting just some rice. This is just like a nice home fun. I'm so happy
Comfort.
right now.
Hey.
Comfort food. That's what it
Comfort
is.
food.
Mm.
Wow. So some folks did both.
I was asking
Oh,
if they did like lunch or dinner for
yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Ooh, and then Mr. Encoder had one oven turkey and one smoked. It took 12. That's why you have lunch and dinner, because you have to wait for the smoked one to finish cooking to eat it.
And let me know how you cook your turkey. I always ask everybody else how they make the turkey, whether it's deep fried, whether it's traditional oven roasted. I've been going the sous vide turkey route recently, and it tastes really good. I did this crazy brine because we were away for a long while. But yeah, the only thing that's, I guess, would say bad about the sous vide turkey is it doesn't get as
It looks like a wrinkled prune.
well, I still have to toast it afterwards, and then I don't toast it evenly enough to be able to have it like toasted on all sides. So I gotta work on that. Maybe next year, if I do the sous vide turkey, I maybe have to let go of doing the whole turkey and then breaking it down
I've
into
seen people do
parts,
that, yeah.
and then that way I can roast it appropriately in its parts versus having the beautiful displayed full turkey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's another option that I haven't really done. We did turkey duck in 1 year too. That was
interesting,
fun and stupid, and like was just dumb. Like, do you remember eating that?
Was
it
it
good?
was mushy because like I didn't. Okay, I
You
was
didn't layer it
pregnant at the
correctly, right?
time, and then I didn't layer it correctly. And you're supposed to put stuffing in between it too, which made it even mushier. So it was kind of gross.
Yeah.
I think if I did it again, I'd probably toast it until the skin was super crunchy. But then even still, you end up with like soggy-ish skin.
Yeah. I don't know what the point is of it besides just trying to do it once. But anyways, I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving holiday. And so today, Mrs. Kongs or us, I wanted to talk about a couple different subjects. It's been a while since we've done a show together. Yeah?
Yeah.
It's been a while. And so, normally I'll do Sunday Fun Day shows when we have the time. It works in our schedule. But particularly when I have topics that I'm really interested in talking about. And if you saw the thumbnail for today, and you saw the thumbnail today, right?
No, you just told me to take a picture.
Really? It says it was in there's a picture of Moo and you. And I've changed the captions a bunch of different times. So originally the caption said, "I'm emotional support cat." Emotional support Moo. So every time she's angry at me, she picks up a cat, and then that way, if I buy something new, she can get a new cat or something. No, but it was funny because I moved some cabinets the other day, so that's why it kind of prompted this.
Intervention? Is
It's
that why we have somebody here to help me with this intervention?
possibly. I'm gonna bring on a special guest in just a minute, but I want to just finish up by like, because of the topics I want to talk about today. I finally have some stuff that I might be interested in picking up, and if I'm interested in picking stuff up, then I need to make space. All right, and so that's the whole kind of premise. If anybody watched my recent short, I moved some stuff around the house. I did the arcade shuffle, and I made some extra space. And so I want to talk about the AtGames Star Trek um, offering. Have you seen it? Have you seen it yet?
No, I'm
No.
scared. We still have a Star Trek.
We do. I figure like I have one of the best looking Star Trek mods, in my opinion, out in the market right now. It's the one that everybody actually wants. It's Star Trek The Next Generation one. And then the Unico Nova Blast. It's a candy cab. You know what a candy cab is? I have a guest
No.
here that can tell you what a candy
Yes,
cab is.
please.
Mr. Justin Console Kits. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. I'm really interested in your opinion on this new AtGames Legends 4K
Mm-hmm.
Star Trek version because I was at
Mm-hmm.
your house and you have a TNG V pin.
I do. I do. So for folks that haven't seen it, this is my custom version of a modded AOP that has the original Star Wars The Next Generation art. So I'm just going to play this video in the background while I talk about the beer. So I feel like I have some
Geez,
skin in the
so
game
great. Oh
of
my god.
all the stuff that I've done to this cabinet. And there's Mrs. Kongzarus, helping me show it off. But I tricked this thing out. I felt like I did everything I could to
Wow.
that ALP. Has a Bobby Vu backlash before Buy Stuff Store came up with their kind of regular, market mod. Like Bobby was making custom one of a kind stuff. But that's me peeling off the art, putting this together because I had the Star Wars arcade one up pinball machine. And I thought, hey, if I have a Star Trek pinball machine, it would be a nice kind of sci-fi pair to have next to each other. That was my original plan before I ever bought a real pinball machine. But there is Gulf Coast Decals helped me put this together. I actually bought a real repro graphic package for the Star Trek The Next Generation for a full-size Williams pin. And he helped scale it down, particularly just for this cabinet. So I don't think he ever resold this cabinet. I don't think anybody made a Star Trek The Next Generation pinball machine. Have you ever seen anybody else do an AOP mod with the TNG graphic?
N- Not like this. And it's interesting because there's everything about this is amazing, not just
Whoa,
So
whoa, whoa.
that's no. Let's think about it. Let's
okay.
compare what you built
Mm-hmm.
to what AtGames built. Or
Yeah.
I'm sorry, AtGames will probably be like, it was the licensor. They were the ones. They
Yeah.
always want to pass the blame.
I'm so
But
curious why they didn't go with this design, or at least this. I feel like of all the Star Treks, this is the one that people wanted because they even have the Williams version on Zen. I thought that would have been the model they went with, but I think it's
I
exciting, and I'll tell you in a second. They are coming up with
yeah,
some new
I'd
Star
like to
Trek
know your
films.
opinion on that.
Yeah.
What's nice about this art package that you're showing off
Hmm.
is there's consistency between all the different
Correct.
panels, right?
Hmm.
So the
Hmm.
background is basically, except for maybe the control panel, which is
Hmm.
fine. You can have one thing that's different. It kind of
Hmm.
looks, right there with the DMD area. It kind of
Hmm.
looks like you're on a console
Hmm.
for the Star Trek, but everything else is space. The
Yes.
background is space, the
Hmm.
side panel space, and then it has characters from
Hmm.
TNG on it, and some
Hmm.
other characters are in front of it showing off stuff.
I even put a phaser on there for fun too, just to
Dude,
kind of
that's
have like
so
a little
good.
button, because like normally the original phaser was the launch button, but I had it on the other side because again, it's a multicade, right? So I did lit up coin doors. So the phaser button actually works as a launch button. It actually broke off. I have to fix it.
So great.
But I put silver legs on it too. So the original AtGames pinball machine had black legs, so I put chrome legs on it too. So and then I put kind of this foil chrome fake trim on the sides too to make it kind of that silver metallic look too. So I don't know. I like this is the version of pinball that I had in my brain that I wanted to make, and so I did it. And I was like, all right, if AtGames released a version of kind of a stock version of the Star Trek: The Next Generation pin, I might be considering picking it up because I did have plans to sell this pinball machine. It's actually still downstairs. It's the one that actually fell down on top of Mrs.
That's right.
Kong's. I'm sorry. But because of that, it did break a little bit. I put it back together. It's all working, but it's now technically damaged, but it's Mrs. Kong's rust damage, so that might actually add some
So I
value to
didn't
it.
step into it.
You did it.
Stepped into me.
It absolutely fell on you. But I have the Vibs board back there. I did all the actual full-on gaming PC inside. I have all the solenoids. It's fully set up with DOF links. I spent a lot of research time to put this together. And so like all in all, I probably say there's over $2,500 worth of parts and labor. I don't know what the labor's cost, but this is just a labor of love, right? It's all the stuff that's in there making it work. So it runs all the stock stuff. It runs VPX. It runs all the Zen tables and things. I added extra fans all over the place. Anyway, so it's been a while since I've looked at all the work that I've done on this. And so I felt like I have stuff to kind of say about the Star Trek Next Pinball. Before I get to my thoughts on it, like, have you already talked about this on your channel? Did you trade your arcade 1-up Star Wars for this? Is that what you talked about? I missed your show.
No. I bought a Cruisin' Exotica.
Oh, nice! Congratulations, man.
So I got a Cruisin' Exotica for $285, and I sold the arcade 1-up pinball for about that same price.
Yeah.
And so it felt like a trade to me. I'm very curious about the AtGames Legends 4K. The titles that are coming out, they keep on showing off what they can do. From a marketing point of view, it's kind of interesting, like for them to rapidly release titles in such a short period of time seems a very consumer friendly. But friends of mine that have pre-ordered previous versions are quickly upset because I know some that ordered the Addams Family and then wished they would have ordered the Star Trek, but didn't know about the Star Trek.
Right.
They emailed AtGames. Now, here's what's interesting. They emailed AtGames saying, hey, you're not delivering till March. According to Buy Stuff, you're not delivering till March. I want my money back. And they're like, you just want your money back because you want to buy the Star Trek version. And he's like, no, I want my money back because you said you were going to deliver this by December, and it's clearly not coming by December, so I want my money back. But anyway, I don't know. Maybe everyone's experience is different, but Arcade 1-Up did this. They created titles. Arcade 1-Up created titles, and then like they came out with more titles, and they came out with more titles. But what AtGames is doing, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, but they're in a very short period of time. They're like, buy the Peanuts version. Wait, buy the Star Trek version. And it's making everyone say, don't buy it at all, because you need to wait for the 15 titles to come out to decide which one to
find
get.
which one you want to. So wait, are you saying that the original 4K one, this one is no longer coming out early like they said? It's now coming out, estimated delivery by 3/31. That is that
now
what
that's if you order it now, but there's a controversy. So Buy Stuff said there's a shipping delay that affects everything.
I
But
see.
AtGames is like, no, Buy Stuff doesn't know what they're talking about. People that pre-ordered the Addams Family are still going to get it before the end of this year. But then Buy Stuff is all like, no, we heard from the shipper who's shipping it, nothing's coming till like March. But everyone's put deposits in based on trying to get it by December. So time will tell in the next 30 days if AtGames is right or if Buy Stuff is right.
Yes. And so this was like the original pre-order window. If you ordered in September, estimated delivery between Christmas and January. And then this was placed here by February. And now if you order it now, it'll be here by March. So Mrs. Kong's, I've been covering a lot more pinball. It's been a while since I've covered anything virtual pinball. What do you think of these new offerings by AtGames now? They are now no longer the multi-cade. Remember that like crazy art design was like multi-pinball? And they're like, it's an Addams Family pinball machine, which is an upgraded version of the pinball machines. What do you think of the art package and design of these offerings?
We don't need it.
I'm not asking you if we need it or not. I'm just asking you what
it's like a USB.
Yeah, well, that's just the whole modding aspect of it. But what do you think of the art package of them putting together like, hey, now it's an Addams Family cabinet versus a multi-cade? Do you like this?
No.
Okay, well, let me show you the next one that they just
wait. No, hold on. Let me work with you, B. Go back to the first one if you can.
All right. I mean, I was trying to get something out of her. All right.
Kongzera,
So, yes.
how am I supposed to address you, Mrs.
Mrs.
Ms.
Crew, Mrs. Kongzerus.
Mrs. Kongzerus, it says it right there.
Okay,
Yeah.
Mrs. Kongzerus.
Yes.
Imagine there's 1,000 people that are interested in knowing your opinion for them, not for you, not for your husband, but for them. From the art package point of view, does it look appealing? Not to purchase yourself, but like imagine you had $1,000 or $1,500 to give someone a gift. Would you gift them this Addams Family version of the pinball machine?
For $200?
No. 200 is the pre-order. That's the deposit. It's $1,500.
Oh no!
Whoa, wait, hold on. Is it $200 and then $1,000? So then it's really $1,200.
No, the retail is 1,500, but the
Okay.
pre-order prices were decreased depending on when you order. So the original pre-order, the cheapest it was 1,100,
11,
and
yeah.
then
Now 13.
1,300, and so this is still a 1,300 price, I think, with the non-refundable $200 deposit. So
It's hard. Let me go back to the Addams Family. Is it the one where that has the that little hidey hole?
yeah, so the virtual pinball version is still the original Addams Family that you played. The art package, though, is unique design to Zen Studio. So this is an original art package design for Addams Family. It's not a replica of the original.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's hard. Because like it's not the original art design. I get it. It's not going to be the same like in-person ball hitting glass thingy. The Addams Family is a fun game. If you ever get a chance to play the real pinball, because you have that secret like hole that you can shoot into, and that's like a little mini game in itself. I don't know, 1,500. I mean, 1,300. Oof. Yeah, that's.
But it's 4K.
So I mean, the differences between this one and the one downstairs is like the body's a little bit bigger. In stock, it comes with like a full-on screen, 2 screens now, which the original didn't, and then it has like a topper. It has 4K ability. I think the UI also improved. I remember you hated the UI as well.
Oh, the UI is much better.
Yeah, what they're doing now is they created this as their kind of evergreen console, the Addams Family, but they're releasing now 50. Is it 15?
I think it's 15, but it's weird because like, is the 15 all Zen? So did the non-Zens count towards the 15, or are those additional? I still don't know.
I don't know, but there's 4 total now. And so and then when you kind of saw the other one, there's this Dinosaur Dynasty, which is again a unique design cabinet, which I don't have any nostalgia for. I don't know who this would be really for. Maybe somebody that really likes dinosaurs, but
will they sell 5,000 of those? Because is that one that's a limited edition for 5,000?
It looks like there's a name placard here that potentially would be limited, but I don't think this would be in much demand.
No, if they would sell that many.
Yeah, it's just one of those where again I don't know.
Hey, Mystery Encoder wants me to tell you to look at his Discord and read the snippet from the email.
All right. Let me do that while I pull up this one, Mrs. Kongzerus. What do you think about this one while I look that up?
How's that any better?
It's Peanuts. I mean,
is it because it's cuter?
It is. I mean, so this is not a real pinball table as well. It's Peanuts as a custom game, but look at this design. Isn't this cute for a Peanuts fan?
I don't know.
It's all yellow.
I guess I mean like Charlie Brown's shirt on the speakers, but still another $1,500 game. Well, I don't know. It's the UI has to improve a lot. I mean, it was nutsos getting to the game itself. I know 4K, it's supposed to be a little bit more crisp, it's supposed to be a little bit more clean, but it makes me wonder because like these virtual pinballs, maybe because we haven't played enough of it too, but like it does feel like we're playing against a computer, but then it doesn't feel real to me. So it's hard for me to say like virtual pinball versus regular pinball is going to be a big difference.
Were you ever into the virtual pinballs, like the ones that I modded? Like, did you ever care to play them at all?
No.
There was no appeal for you at all with that? No, but you like
a different gameplay.
But you like real pinball.
I like real pinball. I like the noise. I like everything about it. It feels like a little bit more predictable versus like, oh, it's like it's lagging a little bit because it doesn't have enough bit rate to this thing, or like, you know, it's a different play. I think if you've only played virtual pinballs, it might be okay, but if you play real pinballs consistently, it's a different feel. So if you had to ask me like Atoms or Peanuts or something, I'd still say no, only because like we play pinball.
Well, I'm not asking you about it. Like, so Justin's premise is just like, we want your thoughts on like before was a multi-K design. I think that AtGames right now,
dizzy.
Yeah, their direction is that they are putting together art packages now that could be appealing to people that like that particular design.
Right.
So they have Snoopy, they have dinosaurs,
right?
They have Addams Family, and then I think it was 2 days ago, like the big one that most people were talking about. And the reason why I wanted to do the stream was this. This is their version of Star Trek Pinball. So now look at this. So we have our version of Star Trek Pinball. This is the version that they're putting out.
The new version, Chris Pine version.
Yes, Chris Pine version, or was it the Kelvin timeline? That's what it's called.
I think so.
So this is also an original art package. On one side, it's characters. On one side, on the other side, it's
characters again.
Yeah, it's characters again, but with like a city background. And then there's an Enterprise on the top, and then you have Enterprises on the front side too. So this is people really wanted to see the version that we put together, the Star Trek The Next Generation art package. If people are like, if that was on this cabinet, then it would be even more of an insta buy. But those that are Star Trek fans, they're kind of like hemming and hawing. People are like, they're kind of like it, they kind of don't. There's some new pinball tables that are coming on here that are being designed by Zen Pinball. But yeah, like Justin, have you already talked about this? Like, do you have any thoughts about them going this route versus going on Williams' side?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I tweeted about it, but I before I get to that, I will say, so at the auction yesterday, I sold my Legends HD pinball.
Oh, did you?
And nice. I sold my Star Wars pinball at the same time, at the same auction. They were near each other. And I can tell you, the difference between the two, Arcade 1-Up and AtGames, is probably no surprise to anyone. But I did not have to worry about the Arcade 1-Up Star Wars. Like, I set it up. A ton of people played it. And then I got some bids. Not everyone bid on it. It was interesting. But, I ended up selling it. I sold the AtGames for more. But I had to babysit the AtGames.
Yeah.
So the person who ended up buying my AtGames Legends pinball almost walked away from the machine completely frustrated, thinking it was broken because he couldn't get into a game. And I said, and I know the dude. I've seen him multiple times at the auction. I've chatted with him a lot. I'm like, hey, man, it's not broken. There's buttons on the front. And then there's also, I even had the stick with the 8-way button, the 8 buttons, and they still couldn't figure out the UI. And I was like, yeah, the back button is here. And I was like, don't worry. When you buy it, like, you'll figure it out at home. Like, it's not broken, even though every single person that went to the AtGames Legends pinball had no clue how to get to a game, how to select a game, or how to back out of the game. I had to do it all for them. And even when I did it for them,
it took you a while.
I didn't know how to do it.
Were you logged in?
I could do it.
Yeah. Were you logged in too? Did it log you out?
No,
while you were there?
I wasn't. I sold it logged out.
I see.
I was logged out. I didn't have any packs.
Yeah.
It was only stock.
Almost bare stock.
It was just the games that come with the machine. That's how I resold it.
That's right. And so DMod is saying the UI is changing too. And that's one of the big reasons for that original one. Is really tough.
The UI is changing, but is the UX changing? The user experience. And those are two different things. It could still have a crappy user experience, but it's just got a facelift.
So this is the email that Mystery Encoder told me to pull up. So it's Dear Legends Family Products owner, right? There's an updated marquee, a light up topper, coin door, custom speaker grills, Legends 4K. So this is when they updated it and made it centered, right? That was the big design. People didn't like that design. It says the bulk of our first wave orders will ship between 12/25 through 1/31, and in cases where some orders ship into February, we will notify you in December and give you an option to cancel the order and receive a full refund. So that's the thing that people are potentially saying they want to cancel. So
wary.
Yeah. Is there any other additional context to that, Mystery Encoder? Like, is that kind of what you were just saying? think that was it, right?
So it sounds like there's some that will slip into February, and if
Mm.
you're displeased with that, we'll let you cancel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So that kind of clears up the ordering.
So is the idea that they're making a limited run, and then if it doesn't sell well, we'll make it super limited, and like y'all just get it in
No,
February?
so like when they first made the announcement for the 4K pinball machine, the Legends original one, they called that first one the HD version. I don't know how many they sold, but they only came out with one version of those.
Mhm.
So yeah, one art package, that was it, and you can get it in waves. And at the beginning, when people were first into it, it was actually sold out quite often, and you had to wait for waves to be able to get them. I got mine in like wave 4 or 5, and I got it from Sam's Club. It's like $800 at the time. They said during these 4K pinball machines that we're making 15 different skinned versions of these. Each are collectors at about 5,000 each quantity. That's a huge quantity. That's 75,000 pinball machines
Mhm.
that are going to be various art packages. And so here's my first initial thought in general about that move by AtGames and the partnership with Zen. And the reason why I feel like they decided to move this route is if you go back to Zen, I'm just going to put it off first screen for a second. Zen Pinball has been working, I think, wanting to make a commercial version of a pinball machine that they could have their titles on. Like, I think they've been working towards that. They had a show where they were even showing two guys building their own custom pinball machine on their channel, on their official channel, on what a Zen cabinet would look like. And so I always wondered if that was the route, if they were going to look for a manufacturer to help produce, a virtual pinball table for them. And this was their solution. It made sense to me that they work with AtGames to find a commercial, already kind of produced pinball machine that can use their titles. And now it kind of made more sense than the arcade one up model in terms of being able to add more packs and add more things and custom things. So I think the 15 tables was like a Zen thing more than an AtGames thing, I feel, because this is their vision for being able to produce their licensors. Hey, we can create pinball for you now with this partnership. So I think that's kind of like my first big take, is that this is Zen driving it more than AtGames wanting to drive these partnership conversations. So
Okay.
does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's interesting. So we're buying what you're saying is we're kind of buying a Zen pinball machine
Mm-hmm.
fulfilled by AtGames.
Yeah,
So we
I
might
think
want to
so.
look at it that way.
so
Yeah.
I mean,
So
well, I was gonna
to
say, well, if we're thinking about that, and then
Mhm,
I want to jump back to an earlier comment from C Marvel
mhm.
about this too, about blaming the software UI at some point, except some people are living in the wrong era.
Yeah.
Navigating and getting to a game to play, you got to fix that, because if you want folks to play, you play.
Yep.
But going back to the earlier comments about like trying to replicate a pinball, like a
Mhm,
in-person pinball, maybe if it is truly Zen and not AtGames trying to do these releases, that they
mhm,
create new pinballs that appeal to like the digitalness of it, right? So not replicating something that exists in real life, because you won't be able to have that same feel, but doing something that's different in terms of gameplay. Because we played the Stranger Things, and it was really cute, that had the little video thing, and they made it look really kitschy, like 80s drive-in movies. But then if you are going to talk about 4K and you're spending all this time to make it look good,
mhm,
then create a different game that utilizes that technology, as opposed to recreating something, because you're not going to be able to fabricate something that as close to original. But if you create something completely new experience, especially since you're doing new artwork that's not replicating something new, I can see that being more of a collector's item, a fun too, because you're not trying to replicate something that already exists in real life that you can play somewhere at an arcade or something, but rather it's a completely new experience.
yeah, and there's some confusion about that, and I don't know the answer, but supposedly this new Star Trek, I've heard some people say that the brand new Star Trek Zen AtGames machine has 3 new titles
correct.
that have not been released by Zen prior.
Mhm,
Whereas there's another set of people going, that's just a copy of Farsight Studios' version
mhm,
of the Star Trek game, which and then which is the Stern copy
mhm.
of the Kelvin version of the Chris Pine
Right.
Star Trek, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know what's right. I absolutely don't know what's true. If it's the case that Zen's like, we're gonna recreate a Chris Pine and a Deep Space Nine, and I think there was a third one. I can't remember which one it was, but it's not TNG, right? And it's not original series. Here's my thought. Let me jump to the end, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. I don't know if it's the same as you. The reason why I would see it makes sense for AtGames and Zen Studios to release the Kelvin Chris Pine version of Star Trek first is because you don't lead with TNG, because once you release TNG, that's it. You've already given people what they want. So you start with Kelvin to trick some of the people to buy that version. And so when the TNG version comes out, they have to buy it twice. But you won't ever get them to buy it twice the other way around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then AtGames has publicly stated, this is all driven by contract. This is all driven by Zen. Zen chooses the order, so stop blaming us. And I say, great, so your partner is the jerks that are giving us what we don't want. So, okay, it doesn't matter. It's either you or them. You know, the FOMO marketing is coming from Zen or AtGames, one of the two. But it is FOMO marketing, and it is releasing slowly, specifically to get you to impulsively buy up to, you know what I mean? There's 15 opportunities for you to impulsively buy.
Yeah, I'm just noticing that there's also a QR code on here that I just scanned to see like what it led to.
Oh yeah?
It doesn't go to anything right now.
Does it bring up does it resolve a URL?
No, it just says blank at the end of it. But I was like, hey, what does this actually scan towards? No, it's just a random HTTP number. Yeah, it goes to nothing. So it's just a fake QR code. I was like, what's on a QR code? Is it a hint?
Scan them all!
Is it a hint?
Come on.
I know, you shouldn't be scanning.
Imagine if they printed those and they actually go to blank.
Yeah. I think you're interesting. You make a good point about them waiting to release something that they know people want, that could be TNG artwork. But if one thing kind of told us something is that I don't know if we'll ever see original recreated art though on these cabinets. I mean, they had that opportunity with Adam's Family to do so, and they went with the Zen version. And so they would have, if they were going to do a Star Trek The Next Generation, I kind of had a feeling it wouldn't have been the exact replica of the side. I think they would have gone with, their own art package for Star Trek The Next Generation and made their own design. Like the only people that were trying to somewhat recreate real pinball was the Arcade Winnow partnership with Attack from Mars. Like that was the only virtual pinball kind of machine on the market which tried to replicate a real table out there. That's what Mr. Encoder was saying earlier, that was kind of what Arcade Winnow model was. It was Zen pinball machines fulfilled by Arcade Winnow, but it was always like a closed package. I don't think that was like the exact deal that Zen wanted, to have it kind of work at 720p and not have it be fully customizable, add more packs, because that's the Zen model, is selling you more packs after you get the thing. Like AtGames model makes more sense for them. So yeah, it's an interesting point that Star Trek The Next Generation is the one that people want, and we're not going to get it. I don't think if they release this version, they only have 15 designs. I don't think they would go back to TNG. I think this is the only Star Trek that people would get, and then it's going to
really,
yeah,
this is it.
I think so.
Okay, I've been thinking that, and I don't know if it's true, but I'll give you the reason why I think this is all you'll get. CBS, Paramount, they're the ones that own this IP.
Yeah,
and similar to Disney wanting to push the content that they have created recently, you can assume that Disney owns 100% of Mandalorian. That when they signed all the contracts for the storyline, and George Lucas is not attached. I'm assuming George Lucas gets a royalty for anything related to the original series. But anything that's Disney Star Wars that's not attached to George Lucas, he doesn't get the royalties like he does for, say, Obi-Wan, because that's a George Lucas character. Keep in mind, George Lucas sold Lucasfilm for $4 billion plus stock, but we don't know any of the other details. I guarantee you there's additional license, like he still gets money, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a common knowledge thing. What about Gene Roddenberry? What about the Gene Roddenberry estate? Who created the Star Trek Kelvin version? And if they market those toys, they market the games all in the Kelvin universe, is it cheaper license fees? I think so. I think it's a cheaper license fee to do something more modern, because the deeper you go back in the past, probably the more the contracts are like, dude, you got to give Gene Roddenberry's estate this. Oh, freaking Captain Kirk. Like who's got to get all that money, right? Deep Space Nine. Okay, I don't think there's a lot of I don't think there's a lot of license and
I like
royalties.
DS9. Yeah, it was
DS9 is fine, right?
yeah.
But like, is it demanding that much of a fee? I don't think it's demanding a big fee.
Yeah. DMod has an interesting point about, their stickers, right? They're just artwork package. Everything else is the same besides the topper, like physically. And they should have a drop down, let you pick whatever you want. This is tough because I don't know, and they haven't mentioned if this is going to be at retail. Because a lot of times what Arcade 1UP does is their main partners are retailers that are buying this and then selling it. They work with Sam's Club previously to kind of put this out in stores. Like, are we going to see any retailers pick this up? Because if it's direct to consumer, yeah, maybe they can do a drop down option, but that's going to be tough. I mean, I can only imagine the marketing pitch that went to retailers that say, we have 15 versions of these pinball machines. Which ones do you want to have in your store, right? It's not going to be dinosaurs, right? So,
well, that could be the thing, right? Like, is it, they say they're making 5,000 of each of these.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe retailers will get it. They'll get the back half that they can't sell direct. And they're like, we made too many of these. Retailers, can you sell them for us?
Yeah. Maybe we'll see them at Ollie's on clearance. Like, the cheapest I ever saw a Legends pinball at Sam's Club was around $400. I think that's the cheapest I saw. Maybe 300 at its like lowest point for like a week, and that was just a random Sam's Club here and there. But yeah, so like I was thinking about this because as soon as I saw this, I was on vacation when I originally saw this, and I was like, oh my goodness, like even the image on the screen was the Stern version of the game. And so I was like really curious about why they put that on there if they hadn't even announced it. But then I did see Pinball Bytes announce that they're making their own Kelvin version of the game plus DS9 and Discovery. So that makes sense. I'm excited for that in terms of new Star Trek pinball. That's awesome. But then I was like, I already have my Star Trek pinball? I have the one that I want, right? And like, was this enough for me to finally get rid of the one that I have downstairs? And I was kind of waiting. I kind of soft put my pinball machine out on the market to see if I can get some good value for it. And now I knew that the 4K versions that were coming out, I was like, if they make a Star Trek The Next Generation pinball, I'm going to lose more money on selling my original one. So I was almost waiting for this version to come out to see if I could now say, I have the best looking Star Trek The Next Generation Legends pinball machine. It's not the 4K version, but I have the original one that already has a PC in it. So I'm thinking that either I keep it or I sell it, because it is the one that I want if I was going to make one, because this isn't it. And I don't know if it's enough to make me kind of flip and change it up and get this one. So that's kind of my quick thoughts, was that I'm kind of on the fence.
As your friend, B,
yes,
I want to encourage you not to buy. Let's work through it. Help me in the chat. Help B. Tell him not to buy the act. Here's why.
All right, tell me. I've been waiting for one to think.
Let's imagine you bought this Star Trek the Kelvin version, and then you decide to mod it.
Yeah,
and you
that's
put a
exactly
PC
what I would do.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
How much better is the modded version of this one versus the one you currently have? What is the gap? What is the difference between what you currently have and the potential modded version of the 4K?
This 2 letters right there, 4K.
Yeah, shaker monitor.
Yeah.
But can't you just upgrade the monitor? You already have a PC in it. Like, the PC can drive 4K, right?
It's true if I was using just 4K, but I am running the stock system on there too. And I guess depending on if I can get the stock.
But you have to rebuy all the games from AtGames.
I would, yeah. And so I don't think it's enough of an. You're talking me out of it. So I was on the fence of buying this, Mrs. Colton. I mean, come on, it's a shiny new toy. Like, everybody's getting one. It's the cool new thing to do in the home arcade space. It's like,
what are you gonna do
buy
with the
one
one downstairs?
compare it, because I can be like, hey, this Star Trek versus the original one. Oh, Mrs. Kong or us, which one's better?
Let's
have
pick
them
it
in
up and go up the
person.
staircase and see which one falls on me.
Okay,
I don't know.
hold on. Let me. I'm gonna play devil's advocate against myself. Okay.
Okay, do it.
As a content creator, what if, and maybe hit one in the chat if you like this idea, is there anything wrong with Kongs as a content creator on YouTube pre-ordering the Star Trek version, reviewing it, comparing it to his other model, playing with it, and then just selling it? And so he got to play with it. He got to make content on it. He got a little bit of ad revenue from the content. And maybe the little bit, which is probably very, I don't know, you would have to make like 10 videos on it and maybe you'd make $50. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. The return would be more curiosity than anything. And
Yeah,
the tinker in me,
you're not going to be in the green on
it's
this.
not a good investment. But
No,
my
and you
curiosity
could resell it
satisfied.
less $100 or $200.
Exactly.
And you'll definitely be in the red, but you'll get to play with it, which has value.
Yeah, I get to see the new UI.
2 or 3 weekend projects. You could even put it on site and maybe.
Oh, Hobby Hands is saying that once I get it, it'll be a keeper. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. How much if I invested in my original AOP? I would say about 2,500 in terms of like the PC parts, the back box, all the stuff on the inside, my own labor. Yeah, I think it's about 2,500 in terms of.
I know how I can get your wife to be in on it. I think I can get her to say, "Okay, sounds good." Let me try. You ready?
Go ahead.
Okay. So Kongs can buy this new AtGames Legends 4K pinball, the Kelvin version. He gets to play with it, make some videos on it, does a review on it, does compare, does podcast, makes content on it, and then he sells both of his virtual pinball machines at the end. So in the end, you don't have either one.
That's actually
what you should have done a long time ago.
Yeah.
Temporarily, he'd have two, though.
Yeah.
Did you not see the madness of space? Did you not see the video where he attempted to he left the...
Oh, I saw it.
It is covering our freaking wedding picture.
No, it's not.
I didn't catch that.
No, this
is
the iArcade. You found a perfect spot for the iArcade, right?
No, it's beautiful right now, Mrs.
But
Congress.
it's in the hallway, right?
Having a hallway with our wedding pictures, which is now covered up by.
It is not covered up. It's totally.
You have wedding pictures throughout the house, though.
No, we don't. There used to be wedding pictures here. It's gone.
Was there? No,
yes,
we had our caricatures. That was not real wedding pictures.
So see how this is a slippery slope to.
He won't have that iArcade for another year. That iArcade's gone in the next year. Right?
Well, this is a nice segue into the second topic that I want to talk about, because I think a lot of people are talking about the Candy Cab, the Nova Blast, right? Which is a
well, I mean, going back to Justin's earlier question about trying to sell it to me, no, the answer is no.
Yeah, but then I do want to sell.
You're supposed to sell the Star Trek one. You were supposed to sell
but then
the Star Trek
I was
one.
waiting. I couldn't get what I wanted value-wise out of it, because once it fell on your head, I couldn't get the value for it anymore.
Then now that we know that you have the original Star Trek generation, you're more keen to sell it now.
I was trying to get $2,000 out of it to be like, hey, it has a gaming PC on it has the best looking artwork, and I had a potential buyer that was really gonna buy it, and then he was like, oh, it broke, and then I was like, I can't in good conscience sell it for that much anymore, and I actually have concerns about it's not like a real pinball machine where I can easily fold the top down. Move
it.
Yeah, our cat there's on it now, and so I think there's probably.
Why are you disclosing this to the public?
I have to. I would say it to the public. It's our cat jumps on it, and then there's probably some structural integrity issues with it now, right? I gotta sell it for lower amount now, and so now part of me is do I just keep it?
Then you gut everything and sell everything individually.
No, but then I was really waiting for the Star Trek version of this 4K pinball to come out. I was I can see a future, like you said, video where I do a side by side saying, here's my version of the 1080p that has a Star Trek combined. here's the new version that's stock, and what can it do? Like, I'm like, the tinker in me is the part of the hobby that excites me. It's like, could there be potential in this? Is there a good comparison? It would just be another 3 months of waiting until the machine comes.
We have a buyer.
Do the comparison. $200 to come pick it up tonight. No, I'm not gonna sell it that cheap. I'm thinking I was gonna go for like maybe like 1,500, or maybe over $1,000 or something. There's like a full-on gaming PC inside. All the solenoids and everything. It's all wired, and it has VPX and like, it has everything in it. Like, it's a badass system. Like, if I did a review of the games that are on it, it's freaking
Those
amazing.
of you that are in the LA area that are interested in a slightly used virtual pinball machine with a high-end PC in it, $1,000. She said it tonight.
Yes. So that would be and to do it all over again would be rough. The other main plan that I had for VPin, because I've gotten into the real pinball machines, right? VPin is not going to replace that experience of real pinball machine. I originally went all into VPin thinking I wasn't going to get into this, but I always felt that there are some benefits to having at least one VPin table, because there are tables out there that are recreated in virtual world that I probably won't get to play too often. But if I ever had an urge to play, Red and Ted's Roadshow, or like, whatever versions of VPX tables that are out there, like, they have really great versions of classic pinball machines in one thing that I can get a feel for. So I have a full-size pinball machine downstairs that's the exact same size as Stern, so it would fit great in this row. And that would be my one virtual pinball machine. So I'm actually, I don't even want
downstairs.
Yeah, I don't even want
that you're supposed to get rid of
the 3/4 scale versions. I have a full scale version downstairs. It's just waiting to be moved
on
up
top
here.
of the Star Trek version.
Well, no, I would be selling all the home arcade versions eventually. Like, they won't be staying in the house long term at all. I already got rid of the arcade 1-up Star Wars pinball machine. That's gone. I sold it to Outrun the Neon Sun. Got a great deal on it. Kind of hooked them up with it.
You just told it to take it.
Yeah, no, I sold it to him for $100 because I was like, hey, if I ever wanted to make content on it again, I could. It's like really close by, and he enjoyed it. And so, yeah. And then the other person that was going to buy my Star Trek pinball, he's also close by. And I was like, if I ever wanted to see it, I can go see it from him too. So there's some kind of benefit from.
So you could sell it to him for $200.
No, that would be. I don't know what I would let it go for, but that's the plan. That's the ultimate plan. So do you have any other virtual pinball in your house anymore? Are you all done?
I'm all out.
You're all out. You're done. Did you ever play them much? Both the AtGames one or the arcade 1-up one?
When the arcade 1-up came out, I played that a lot early on. Yeah. When I first got the AtGames, I played that. I never put a PC in it. I never modded the arcade 1-up with additional games. But even if the virtual pinball machines doubled in quality, it would be hard because, and you know this, man, the space that it takes up is relative to the space of a full-size machine. This is true of an arcade 1-up 3/4 scale machine.
Yeah.
You can fit an arcade in the same space as an arcade 1-up. Yeah, maybe a single arcade, but it's weird because arcades are different. Arcades are weird. Like, you can get a multicade, and could you just modify an arcade 1-up? Like, I'm on the fence on that. Like, modify an XL arcade 1-up to be a multicade. That might be the way I would go. I got the Vuelix, which is like a sit-down version. I'm really enjoying that. I thought I would hate the 32-inch screen, 16:9. I don't. It's so big that even the 4:3 with the bezel is totally fine. And I recently learned the math that 32 inches, 4:3 is 26 inches. So and it's like you're so close to the machine, like you don't even see the bezel. It's like it's almost too big because you're so close to the screen. So like I did not expect that. I did not expect sitting down in front of a 32-inch screen and actually enjoying it and going, me, Mr. 4:3. I'm like, I'm fine with 16:9. Anyway, when it comes to virtual machines and full size, I mean,
it takes up years.
Mrs. Kongs is not lying. She knows there's no difference. I mean, there's no comparing a real a real pinball machine to a virtual pinball machine. The question is, if you can't afford or don't have the space, because those are the two topics. It's can you afford it, and can you have the space? And if either one of those are no, then a virtual pinball machine is for you.
Yeah.
But if you can't afford it and you have the space,
That's
then
right.
it's what you were talking about. It's the whole like, I guess I would have a virtual pinball machine to play all the other games that I can't have in my house.
That's what DMod was saying. You can use it to learn rules and things as well.
Right.
There's also kind of like online tournaments, like the Zen ecosystem. This is what actually would make the Zen pinballs really, really interesting, because AtGames has their own high score system for those that have the AtGames pinball machine. But if they could find a way to tap into the Zen online experience of playing multiplayer online in Zen run tournaments through their servers, that would be really cool. I remember back when MCAP and UAG would host weekly Zen pinball tournaments, and I would have fun joining those. And I remember that was the most I ever played my pinball machines, was playing in tournaments with other people. And so that online aspect, and there was actually virtual pinball leagues too. That virtual pinball leagues, you get a table and you put up a high score, and they have like an Excel spreadsheet that shows what the scores are. Like that Zen interface and that aspect of it is why some people are huge Zen fans, because of that UI. If they can tap into that, that would be really cool. But if you're just playing against other AtGames owners, it's probably still okay. But I don't know if it would be the same as setting up a tournament for a weekend or whatever, right? It would just be whoever has the high score. It would still have to be done outside of the system.
Right.
So
I mean, like, these virtual pinballs have to do more than just emulate the real stuff. It has to have some kind of like additional features to it too. If it has online gameplay where you can play folks who don't necessarily have the same like at games, but like some kind of like, I saw somebody said on Steam too, some of these games too. I think the competitiveness is what makes it game, right? So leveraging the technology, leveraging that's a completely different gameplay field, and have like little like movies and stuff on it, and then having these like being able to play online with someone would be way better than just saying like, we're trying to copy this and you know, it's close to, it looks sharper. It's like, you got to do something else.
All right, so let's pivot for a second, Mrs. Kongs or us. This is what the new making space in the arcade looks like.
Do you not see the Neo Geo right next to our wedding picture?
Yeah, it's not covered, just
Wait,
right.
You still have the Neo Geo?
So here's what I did. I took off my IR Arcade base and the Neo Geo MVSX base, and I put it on this shelf that literally had leftover Legos and toys
that
and
you
boxes.
Put there.
Yes, but they weren't being used. I put them somewhere else, and I'm all like,
said we were going for the minimalistic. This is not minimalistic.
Totally minimalistic.
It would energy consumption.
No, I would be getting rid of more stuff there. And so what previously used to be in the T2 spot was that cat condo on the way far back left area. So it's kind of creeping up. This is like our hallway. Like there wasn't arcades here before.
Notice how like I always said you get one room. He got one room, a den. Now he's getting a hallway.
Yeah. But
tell me this does not infuriate you.
No.
Is there any way you can fit all this stuff in your collection? Not that room that's right there, but the room to the right?
Nope.
Yeah,
you can't fit in your Lego room?
I had to clean up my room a lot to make that happen. But like I have now space for 3 more cabinets, right? Next to the turtles along the staircase for a wall right there. And then in the arcade, and this is kind of a peek into like where the pinball machines, my plan is to move along this row of Stern pinballs on the right. There's a Ridge Racer, a Big Blue, and an Atari, the Tempest. And so if I move those 3 cabinets to this wall over there, I now can fit 2 more Stern pinball machines, and I'll move that point blank out of the way. And so this will be a whole row of pinball machine on the back wall, and then I'll have 1 row of arcades on the left, and then I'll have like a little space right there. So that's the plan. What do you think? I can have like a full pinball row. That's the dream.
It's like, hey, wife, you used to live here. I'm just gonna move arcades and pinballs
it's just the pinball shuffle.
Wait. When you say a full roll of pinballs, is it 3 or 4? What are you talking about?
I would have space to fit 2 more full-size pinball machines, and like one of those spaces is already reserved for my virtual pinball machine, the one that's like a full-size Stern that I've been working on. And so that's the goal, is to get to right here would have another space for a virtual pinball machine, and then I have space for like I think 1 more, maybe.
So imagine having your partner tell you, there's this one space that used to be livable, shareable. I'm just gonna put what's equivalent to a couple of hot tubs here. Just gonna take up space, take up energy. I'm just gonna keep putting hot tubs here.
We weren't using this space for much. We barely sat in this space. Okay, continue.
Let's ask some questions. So, Mrs. Kongs,
Mhm.
if let's say B Kong didn't have any machines in the house except for pinball machines and one multicade, but let's say he had 5 pinball machines in that room, but all the other arcades were gone. But then there's just like a multicade over here that no virtual pin, just like 5 Sterns. Is that worse or better than what you have today?
It doesn't mean that you have the authority to be able to do what you're gonna do.
I have no other like real Stern pinball machines on order or anything like that, but you said you like real pinball machines. It's probably play this more.
This is why I asked the question. It's the only reason.
Have you noticed every time we go out anywhere, I don't touch any Star Wars, Foo Fighters, or Godzilla?
Yeah.
What do you touch?
Anything other than Star Wars, Foo Fighters, and Godzilla.
But what are you like?
You want me to touch you? I could touch you.
We had that conversation when I was staying with you. I said no. I said I appreciate it, but no. I'm being serious. Like, be descriptive of what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. You say you don't touch things. Is it you don't touch?
I don't play. Anytime there's any arcades, any place we go to, I don't play Star Wars, Foo Fighters, or Godzilla.
But she'll play other pinball machines. What other pinball machines do you play?
Okay, that's the question.
Yeah.
Everything else.
Oh, but what do you gravitate to most when you see like out in the field? Like, what are your
and do you play like shooters? Racer machines, beat 'em ups in the arcade space, right? The categories are light gun games.
No, I don't play anything. I'm at the bar usually.
Yeah, when we go to retro arcades, she actually doesn't play any of the actual arcades. She only touches pinball.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah.
It sounds like if you had cats and pinball, your wife would be happy.
Possibly. Are you trying to convince me, Justin, to sell all of my arcades?
No, 100% not. I'm trying to learn your wife. I'm also noticing. I don't know why my wife and your wife don't talk. But my wife, let me tell you about my wife.
Yeah,
she loves when I talk about pinball. I don't know why. She loves when I talk about buying pinball. I don't know why. She loves cats, and she also loves knitting. Does Mrs. Kong like knitting? Because if so, they're the same person. And wine.
You knit.
I knit, not frequently.
Not frequently.
She's working on a what's it called? A weather blanket. Is it a weather blanket? She's knitting the temperature.
An all-weather blanket?
No. It's literally. I think it's called a temperature blanket. It's where she takes the entire calendar year and whatever temperature it was in 2023 on this given day, that's what color she's stitching. And so when you look at the entire blanket, it's basically a pattern based on the weather of last year.
So it takes a whole year to make.
That's cool.
Yeah, she's doing it in like 3 months. So she did 2022.
We don't have basements in California.
No.
So unfortunately, limited space. And I'm dumb. I actually have my pinballs upstairs on my second floor. So I mean, like that was a struggle getting them up.
How do you get them up?
The first one was dumb because I didn't have it in box, and so I had to have me, my brother, my brother-in-law carried up. My 2 brothers-in-laws. 4 of us, right? Yeah. So 4 guys hauling it upstairs, and we weren't even doing it upright. We were like doing the whole friends pivot, like trying to get it up the corner. The other 2 were easier because they were still in box, and so I just had them on a dolly. And so me and my brother-in-law just like went on the bottom pushing up each staircase, and it worked.
Which is the most terrifying thing to ever see.
It worked. We made it up. All right. D-Mod is asking a good question. Do you actually play your arcade machines if you haven't played something in the last month?
I like it. There's a lot of stuff you would sell. The Tempest.
I'm telling you.
Blue, the Ridge Racer. This Marvel vs. Capcom in the corner is Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
No, I play this one all the time.
Mortal Kombat. Tron, you don't touch at all.
I do.
I put my drinks on Tron.
Yeah, that's the game I played a few months ago. I still
Yeah.
own the Star Wars because I play
Mhm.
that, and the Street Fighter
Did I
has
tell
one
you I
game that
sold my Star Wars cabinet? I sold my
Original.
original Star Wars modded cabinet.
the modded
Like,
one?
yeah, my original OG. Like, I sold it to a guy that is local, and he also owns a lot of pinball machines. So part of me was it was a sort of a win-win type of situation where he gets the arcade, he gets an original piece. And then if I wanted to do maintenance, I can go to his place and he would be happy to let me play some of his LEs. And he has a
I'm
lot of
gonna
great things.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, he
I'm
has a
gonna
lot
throw
of good
this out
pinball
there
machines.
because your title,
Yep,
I'm reading it. It says
yep,
AtGames Star Trek Pinball and Unico Nova Blast Handicap.
yes. So
What's a candy cab?
the candy cab, yeah, that's the last part I was actually wanting to talk about was this little guy here.
Ooh.
So this is a courtesy of P-Dub's Arcade Loft. Had these pictures, so I just grabbed them from his Facebook page. I don't know if there's other new pictures, if they even have a splash page of this yet, but this is a candy cab. You know what a candy cab is?
You eat candy from the cab?
No, I don't even know why they call them a candy cab. Is there a history for that? Do you know?
Let me ask ChatGPT.
Yeah, why are they called handicaps? But this is
Google Bard.
a bar top version of an arcade, and so the reason why I brought this up is because this is intriguing because it is a shell of a metal frame that looks like this, and it's like this is a replica version of a real arcade, the Japanese ones where you sit down and play, right? There's going to be a giant 26-inch monitor in there. There's sandwall buttons. It looks like this in the back. And then it has a harness for you to put real arcade hardware in it, or a Raspberry Pi, or a computer, or whatever you want. So it's pretty much just a shell for you to be able to play something. But the look of it, it's only nostalgic because it looks like a candy cab, right? Otherwise, there's no other game that's nostalgic for this. But the reason why I bring this up is, hey, I now have a shelf space where I could put something that looks like a candy cab. Because the arcade design, if you look at it, it actually, the top bar top looks like a candy cab. It didn't really have that nostalgia feel for it. But I'm
Again,
like, where are we going to put this? I don't really have a place for a sit down. But if I
no.
was going to get it, I was like, this could be
So you
now.
could be
This could be
blocking
now
my
my.
hallway.
No, I'm not blocking the hallway. I'm just saying, like, now, like, this is. I at first I think about space all the time now. Can I reasonably physically put this in the arcade? And now that I have somewhat of a space put out, it might be something I want to tinker with. I don't know. This isn't something I've really committed to going yet. I know
Yeah, you have a
there's
space because
$1,200.
you've been displacing everything
I,
else.
I can put everything back if I wanted to. There's still space. This is just exploring options. I just like placing things around to see what it looks like.
Here's the thing that's scary about this. Oh, so I did ask ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT says it's called a candy cab because it
Mm-hmm.
resembles a machine that will dispense candy.
Oh, okay.
So it looks like a vending machine.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. $1,200 is a lot of money.
That's the potential price, right? I think that's what Fox was saying.
Right. Fox is saying 1,200. I've heard other people say 1,200. I mean, I think they're just guessing. I really hope that they don't sell it for 1,200, and then they would have done 800 if we didn't say anything.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It's $1,200. How about don't buy 2 1-ups and then just buy this instead?
Yeah.
So I only say that in the sense of 1,200 is not a lot when you consider, have you bought 2 1-ups at full price, and then what you get for this. I think the biggest appeal is it's got a 26-inch monitor in it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people were like really wishing the XL would have a 19-inch monitor. This one has a 26-inch 4x3. You just got to bring your own games. So it's interesting.
And the modding possibilities of this, right? Because you can do either a harness that has a real arcade hardware that you can swap in. You could also use it as a test station to kind of swap in boards if you went that route. I know a couple people were saying that was an option for people to do. Or you can just put on a multicade and just be done with it, right? Like that's probably like my bread and butter is getting a full-on. I used to have an arcade 1-up modded Street Fighter 2 cabinet that had a hyperspin built in it. And that was like my original multicade that I eventually sold because I didn't want it. But this could be sit down, beautiful 26-inch like multi-K too. That could be really nice too. But I already have that in, the iArcade technically can do that with all the MAME games. And then I have the NVSX that does that. It's just like, I don't know. It's definitely not a need to have type of thing. It would be a nice to have to tinker with, but it is intriguing. Like this and at Star Trek, I've not committed to anything. I'm not in those modes where I'm like, I got to pre-order day one. I'm in a wait and see mode for both of these products to really see like what the final prices are for these. Maybe I'll check out some reviews later on, but I don't think I'm going to be the first on the market to get one of these, as well as the Star Trek one. It's just going to be wait and see. But they were both intriguing enough for me to talk about them. It's been a while since I've been interested in a product, but I really don't have any other plans to get stuff. I'm in a phase where I'm trying to clean up my space and make kind of potential space for a future, my dream of my virtual pinball machine up here and a second one. I don't know. Forever gonna get another pinball machine. I don't know.
Whatever you pre-order is fine.
I don't. I have nothing on pre-order. Not unlike Mr. Justin here, who's getting pinball machines like every other month. So
I did not get the Iron Man.
You're a bad influence, man. All the pinball machines that you get, I'm like, ugh, jealous.
Although I did, I can't believe it. I'm so excited. I actually bought the Galactic Tank Force. Can you believe that?
So you got that from Captain's Auction?
Yeah, I won the Captain's Auction.
Yeah, congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is it still on delivery right now? It's
tomorrow. So because of the holiday, it's not set up to ship yet. But I think I got a pretty good deal. Because no one wanted to buy it from Captain's Auction, so I think I got a $2,000 or $3,000 discount.
That's not bad, man. And you like the game, so like you were saying, eventually at Cleveland, you started really liking the game. So
really wanted.
You got over the 3D printing, and we're just like you like the gameplay of it and everything.
The game is really fun. There's a lot to hate about that game, but I think owning it. Because remember, every single time we played Galactic Tank Force, the ball lock wasn't set up.
Oh yeah. It was like in convention mode where it wasn't the real game yet, right?
Right. But I've seen people stream online, and when they stream online, like they have the lock ball set up like normal. And then I think Galactic, American Pinball did a stream on it, and they had to lift the glass a whole bunch of times. But like I would own it, right? So I think I would like fix it. Do you know the lock ball setup? Like I think I'd figured out how to make it where the ball doesn't get stuck.
Yeah.
Or
Jason,
I would turn it off, but the rest of the game sounded really fun. And I did a ton of research on it. I watched hours and hours of streaming on it because I got obsessed with it, which is what caused me to pre-order it because I'm like, I think I love this game.
Yeah, I had this amazing interview with Carrie Hoskins talking about that I've never released yet. So that should be a fun video. And then I'll be like, check out Justin for more content on Galactic Tank Force. So but yeah, that's awesome. So and I really like the music on that game. And so time will tell if who knows if the code ever gets updated and they fix certain things with it. Like I guess if they ever fix the toys in it. Like I think that's the only thing that really bugs me about it. So if you had the modding chops to like maybe even customize it yourself, like paint them, like all the gray figures, just take them out and like paint them or get somebody else to paint them. Like it would look so much better like than what's there currently. It just looks unfinished. So I think if I saw that done, it would look really nice. But you have that. You got a bond recently. Do you have anything else on order?
I almost got Iron Man.
Almost at the auction?
At the auction, but I bailed out.
Yeah.
At the auction.
All right.
And then there's still Jaws coming. And
you have Jaws potentially, which is unconfirmed. Nothing's official till it's official. But, the word on the street is that Jaws is coming out. But we got a couple of folks here. I just want to say hi to Matt Astra Gaming saying hello. He just got home from his third date with someone. So congrats to that, Matt Astra. I know you're going through some rough times. Matt Astra and I were actually in this amazing group last weekend. We were working together to help get each other Comic-Con tickets. So Matt Astra Gaming is going to Comic-Con next year.
Oh, cool, man.
He joined my little friend group for the morning.
Right.
I'm gonna
so who is he going as?
Help it. I don't know. I'd love to see Matt Astra Gaming cosplay at Comic-Con next year. And so
dude, I'm sorry, Willy Wonka has Metallica coming. Dude, that
nice.
So like this is what I'm wishing that Jaws is. Like what we haven't got from Stern in a while, if you don't mind me talking about it just for 2 seconds. And I've been talking about this. The last machine from Stern that has inline tiles is the James Bond 60th which Elwin made.
You like that?
Yes, I love it. And the last game prior that I know of is Metallica. Metallica did the inline, and then it's got a cross that comes out after you hit all the inline tiles, and then you got to hit the cross, right?
Yeah.
My guess is since Elwyn made the 60th anniversary for James Bond, but they didn't make very many of them. But he loved the inline, and
They
it's
think that's
not
gonna be in
common.
Jaws? Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe it might be on Jaws. Like,
Yeah.
did he go, okay, let's do the inline on Jaws?
Yeah.
I hope so. Otherwise, the next best inline is probably Metallica.
Have you played Total Nuclear Annihilation?
Yeah,
You
that
know?
one has it, and it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, that
The
one's pretty fun.
game's a little weird, but it does have the inline, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. DMod is saying Bond is fun, and you love your Bond now. Do you like playing James Bond? You played it the other day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say one thing about it.
Mhm.
Hold down the left flipper when you start the game.
To reset?
Nope. On James Bond, if you hold down the left flipper, all of a sudden all the lights will go purple. And when you shoot, when you plunge the ball, it goes around and doesn't get caught by the bumpers. It'll spin around, and if you hit one of the purple shots, you get 2 missiles. It's fun.
Cool.
It's like a super skill shot. Like, it's not written down anywhere. Like, just hold down the left flipper, and it enters this, like, new extra mode. It's gotta get it out there.
Cool. Yeah, I've been enjoying Bond a little bit more each time I've played it. So they've definitely updated it a little bit more. And you have the Pro model, right?
Yeah, I just have the Pro model.
Have you seen the mod that has the little shift knob and there's a hidden button inside that like does the launcher?
Yeah. You lift it up, and it's
Yeah. So the guy that I go play pinball at his house, he has an LE and he has that little flipper mod too. So I was like,
That's
oh, that's
cool.
really cool. And he's really into modding stuff. So they've done some really cool stuff with that machine. Speaking of modding, there's also, I want to give a shout out to forget the name of the group. It's like the guy from Stumbler Pinball and the guy that made the custom Tokyo Godzilla sign. Forget where he's from. Neon Electric or something like that. They have a modding pinball podcast now. They're like on episode 2. I definitely want to like show them some love and promote them a little bit more because they're the actual manufacturers that make those mods, and they're like super technical and geeky, and it's really fun to listen to them. And so Stumbler Pinball actually is going to be shipping me the Tokyo Neon thing, mabobber, the noodle building and Godzilla.
Okay.
So yeah, he saw my video for the Lolly mod, right? Or for the Tokyo Neon side, and it was like, I love the coverage. I'm gonna send you the noodle building. So I was like, sweet. And so I'm gonna have him on a future show. But I think you dig talking to those guys too. They're really awesome. So modding pinball, after you get all the ones, I can't wait for you to do all those mods too and get them going with your place. That'll be really fun. But hey, last thing, Justin and I, well, I've already told you this, so this is not news. Justin and I, we're going somewhere in January.
We are.
That's right. We'll be in Vegas again.
You got a shirt for it?
You remember? Remember when we went to
No.
We went to a hotel just to get a t-shirt. Well, I got a t-shirt for it. So yeah, because I registered as a media guy, and then they got me.
That's right.
I got to like get a free t-shirt. So
that's right. So Kongs and us will be at CES 2026. We'll be giving you the first review.
2026.
I don't know where 2026 came from. 2024. We'll give you the first reviews of the Stern Jaws machine.
You think it's gonna be there? No.
You
think Arcade One-Up's gonna be there? Probably should ask.
No, they're taking another year off.
Yeah, they'll take another year off. All right. Yeah, that's funny. Maybe they'll have
2024 is another year of the deluxe.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, have a good night, everybody. Thank you, Justin, for hanging out with us for the last hour and 15. Mrs. Kong's, was this a really boring stream for you? I mean, we got to talk
I'm sorry, I dominated conversation.
No, not at all. I love it. I love talking to Justin.
I thought this was an intervention. Apparently it's not.
No, it's just me and Justin geeking out over arcades and pinball. And so
maybe we get one more minute in. Let's try to get Miss Kongs to give her opinion on the can we do a quick review? Do you have a minute?
Yeah.
AtGames Star Trek Pinball and Unico Nova Blast. Kongs, can you try to explain to your wife why you should buy both of these machines this next year?
Okay. right. So, Mrs. Kong to us, the Star Trek, the next.
Yeah, too slow. No, the answer is no.
Didn't even get a chance. Didn't get a word in. No, it's too slow.
Hit me with something good.
What
and then
about the
That was
Unico? Let's play the same game. The Unico Nova Blast is inherently a multi
Yeah,
game.
no, the answer is no.
I will mod it to dispense candy and wine.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
No.
I will put a refrigerator in it.
The
and it will
cats
have
could
a
live
spout.
inside it, technically.
Yeah.
You can mod it where the cats could live in the base.
Nope.
Okay. Okay, Unico has got something special going on. Unico, I believe, is understands the home arcade community is in a consolidation year. Where they're like, we're running out of space, we want some new stuff, but we want to be able to reduce and consolidate some of our machines. So we're going to provide a machine that will replace some of the current machines that you already have. So this could work for you, Mrs. Kongs, because B can buy the Unico Nova Blast and it would replace 2 or 3 or 4 of the machines he already has.
So
And keep in mind,
a fire sale.
It's horizontal.
$200. Who wants what for $200?
One machine can do horizontal or vertical games because you can actually rotate the monitor. You can unscrew the monitor and move it to vertical position.
That would take up space.
No. It's one machine, and then week 1 he does horizontal, and week 2 he flips it. Now it's all vertical. Same machine. He didn't move it around at all. It's the same machine.
Yeah. I probably will get rid of the iArcade finally at that point. I think that would be the one I would get rid of. That would make sense.
Which one's that?
The iArcade. Like I still have the iArcade sitting on that like shelf over there. And I literally am doing that just because Mystery Encoder and team are still doing stuff for it. But sometimes I hold on to things just because of the chance that it'll be a fun mod project.
Why don't you just hold on to it in your closet?
You don't have space. There's no space.
Actually, when I took off the base, I still had the front panel of Dirk. And it was like, this is high quality art. Like, I wonder if I can put this somewhere. But it's a giant freaking, a 3/4 inch MDF panel that would just be really crazy to put anywhere. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
I have one last thing to say.
Yep.
Michael of All Trades is in the chat. Say hello.
Evening chat, people. Big Moats here. Doing a Tecmo Super Bowl stream. I saw that earlier today. I miss playing all those games with Mike of All Trades and all his crew. They do a lot of good stuff on the back alley 7-Eleven. Yeah, those are some of the best times I had was playing competitively with a bunch of people. So we'll see. Cammy's here. Also, I haven't seen her in a while, saying the Nova Blast is a must-have for the home arcade. I know some people are going to be really into it, but it is a mod project. It's a mod project, though. It's like it's one of those things where I kind of don't know how I feel about it.
What would you put in it? What would you put in the Nova Blast?
I would probably put a PC and have one of my Launchbox big box builds in it, like a Hyperspin build or something. I think that's
you put that PC right in the base.
Yeah, that could.
And then you would have a 26-inch 4x3 monitor.
We can do
and then Mrs. Kong could pick out the stool.
Mm-hmm.
Does she know a good stool?
Yeah, those stools could fit perfectly in this space, right, Mrs. Kong?
It's a sit-down cabinet, Mrs. Kong.
Yeah,
it's a sit-down cabinet. You don't stand up
optional. To it. It's optional to have it on a sit-down, because otherwise you can just buy the top part, right? I'm pretty sure.
Cammy says you should put a B-Link in it because B Link.
I see. Smart
mini PC,
mini PCs. All right, so I think we're gonna call it a night. Thank you, Justin, for coming on. Join us. We'll probably talk more about CES later at a future time. Maybe we can convince some people from Stern to talk to us, and Justin can interview Gary and people again.
Your real name.
Oh my god!
Yeah, you got
that Gary. I don't know.
Dude. That was pretty awesome.
Interviewing Gary was weird. He forgot what machine he was selling that year, and we had to go to the machine so he could remember it was Venom.
Yeah,
pretty sure that's what happened.
Yeah, and then he told you about the greatest feature of it was like the little shoot back lane thing is a bobber. So he's still sharp. He was a cool cat. All right, have a good night, everybody. Thank you guys. Watch Justin's music stream. Is it still up? I learned about some power chords from you earlier today. So
it may have got shut down because it was copyright material, but we'll see.
All good. All right. Thanks, guys. See you later.